What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. Well, about a couple of days ago, I watched a movie called Freaky, starring Kathryn Newton, Vince Vaughn, and Misha Oshirovich. First of all, let's rewind like some years back, I'd say 2017-ish. I watched a movie called Happy Death Day, directed by Christopher Landon. Obviously, this was like the horror version of Groundhog Day. I did not like this movie for the simple fact that it should have been rated R. It's a slasher film. Directors, never do this again. Stop doing this. Actually, stop doing this. Please. I beg you. I don't know why I wasted my money with that. Fast forward 2020. Movie Freaky comes out. Also directed by Christopher Landon. It seems like he has a little theme going on, because this is the horror version of Freaky Friday, with some elements of the hot chick thrown in there. Actually, a lot of elements of the hot chick thrown in that movie. The only difference with this one, he made it rated R, which is what he should have done years ago. Thank you. Now, the question remains, is this going to be worth my time? Is the R rating going to help at all? That shall be answered. Now let's get back to that review. Freaky. For those who don't know about this or have never heard of this movie, and I don't see how because this is all over social media. Freaky is about a young teenage girl named Millie who's going through a lot of issues. She's, her family's going through some financial problems. They just lost a father, so she's grieving over her father. Plus, she's not actually the most popular girl in school, so she gets picked on every single day. Now, while we have this going on, there's a mass murderer running around town called the Butcher. Some people believe him to be a myth because, he's been killing for years and years and years, and they just can't believe somebody can be killing that long, right? But he shuts all that down at the beginning of the movie, all right? And while he's shutting that down, like killers do, he runs into a dagger, like a mystical dagger, that when you stab someone with it, they switch bodies with you. Alright? So he gets a hold of this dagger, and somehow he runs into Millie, of course. And he catches Millie slipping and stabs her, and they switch bodies. Now here's the thing. They have to switch back within 24 hours, which I'm still trying to figure out how they figured that out. But that's the premise, right? Now, positives. Off the bat, the strongest positive about this movie has to be the humor. It has to be the humor. This movie had some funny moments. Some strong, funny moments. Alright? That's stuff that'll make you just crack up. Let me give you an example. Give me one example. Millie has a friend in here who is a gay male. He's a young gay male, right? At one point in the movie, this friend has the killer tied up. But the killer is already in Millie's body. Keep that in mind. His mom walks in the house, starts wondering what the hell's going on. the first thing to come to his mind, the first lie that he could think of for the reason why a gay man or a gay young man would have a girl tied up in his house is that he's coming out as a straight man. Now, if you look at this guy, you know he's not anywhere near straight. And this is not being offensive. That's the character they wanted him to portray in the movie. Okay, that's who he is in the movie. That's just who he is. And what makes it even funnier is his mother's reaction. She's just like, now you know damn well, you're not anywhere near straight. And she's just saying what everybody was thinking, probably. Okay? That part was it was probably one of the funniest moments in the movie. I laughed so hard. At that. And a couple other moments, too, that were hilarious. Yeah. And then I want to state, by the way, I wasn't even sure if this was actually a comedy or not. I was not aware until like later on. So that kind of helped. That made a difference right there. That it actually was a comedy. Also, I like how when they did the body switch, that at least they try to keep it realistic. They at least try to hold on to some realism. Because when he went into the girl's body, he no longer possessed that strength that he had when he was in the killer's body. You know what I'm saying? They didn't try to pull one over your eyes and have the girl still be like strong as hell and picking people up and throwing them around. They didn't try that. I'm glad they didn't do that. They kept a little realism to the plot. So that was a good idea. That was a pretty good idea. I'll admit that. Another thing, you got to actually see the kills. You actually got to see the kills. Unlike some other movies I'm not going to keep mentioning. You actually got to see him do his thing. Now, that's going to bleed into the negative zone. I say that because, yeah, you got to see the killer actually kill somebody with, you get to see the blood and the guts and the gore like a slasher film should have. But I gotta ask this. Where did he get all this strength when he was in his actual killer body, the actual body of the murderer? Where did he get all this strength? I do understand that this was a poke also at Jason Voorhees with the whole Friday the 13th thing. But Jason Voorhees had a backstory. This man had no kind of information explaining that how strong he was, or strong enough to be able to stick a tennis racket through somebody's head on the first try. We're not gonna believe that. We're not gonna believe that, man. That's bull. That's bull. Okay, that's bull. So that's the first negative we're gonna get out the way. Second negative. Those kills were so predictable. Every kill, every murder he did was so predictable. And I know this is a cliche for a lot of slasher films. You quickly figure out who's gonna die, or who might die because of their personalities and what kind of character they are. I understand, but this one just threw the blueprint out in your face. It pretty much just held your hand. Okay, this guy's gonna die first, then this person. You could go in order without even seeing it yet and know who's gonna die. That's how predictable that was. Not good. Not good, guys. All right, stop that one. Another thing, there's a character in here, or teacher, all right, named Mr. Fletcher, shop teacher. He is one of the people that was giving Millie a hard time. Now, unlike everybody else, there really was no reason for him to give Millie a hard time. It didn't make any sense. His biggest reason was he asked Millie to present a presentation in front of class that was due on the 16th. It was not the 16th yet. She had a point. She even said, well, sir, I'm not ready. You said the 16th. And he just got on her. And he continued to act like she was just the worst student in the class. Bro, there were obviously like way worse kids in that class than her. There were some bad kids in that class that he could have been getting on besides her. She was probably the best kid in the class. So it doesn't make it. What's the connection here? Why did they even force that? They forced that hatred. They forced that hatred between those two. I did not like that. I did not like that at all. It was so off. And another negative. There's a lot of negatives. Vince Vaughn, don't get me wrong, Vince Vaughn is a funny guy. I enjoyed him in Old School. I enjoyed him in, I think the movie's called Separated, but I'm not sure. The movie will be at the bottom of the screen. That's when he was like the lead in that comedy. Him and Jennifer Aniston. That was a hilarious movie. Loved him in that. But when it comes to movies like this that have already been done, that ideas of body switching has already been done. Okay? You've had Jack Black do it, and you had Rob Schneider do it in Hot Chicks. You're competing against two comedians to really bring the laughs. Vince Vaughn, he barely accomplished that. He tried. He had his time. He had his moments when, I chuckled a little bit. But he could have done a lot better. There were uncomfortable scenes in the movie that were meant to be funny if the right person was to do it. But Vince Vaughn, he was not that person. He was not that guy. I hate to say that. I really hate to say this, because I otherwise enjoy his movies. But this wasn't the role for Vince Vaughn, man. This wasn't the role for him. I'm sorry. It really wasn't. Okay? It wasn't. Which leads me to my last negative. The ending of the movie. They had a chance to go a certain route with this movie. Give us some kind of twist. Instead of that, they decided to prolong the end. It's making you think that it was over, like a lot of movies do. And then, gotcha. It's not over. We got more. We got more to the movie. And then they kept dragging the end to a climax that was unsatisfying and a waste of my time, when they could have ended it in another way that would have made a lot more sense, or this would have been better. It would have been more interesting the way I could have thought of it. If they'd have let me direct, I would have made it end in a way I can't say, because I don't want to ruin anything. Let's just say they really should think about having alternate endings for their Blu-ray version. They really should think about this. That would make me actually want to buy it. And I'm sure by now you can tell this movie is getting Yes, it gets an A. It gets an A because it barely was hanging on with the humor. It barely was hanging on with the few laughs that it pulled and it forced out of me. It didn't force, but, that's all it had going, man. Please, that ending could have been a lot different than what it was. I just did not like that. You kept me in the theater waiting for something that I didn't even have to see. Okay? My advice to Mr. Christopher Landon: the next movie you do, Put some originality. No more making a horror version of movies that are already classics, because you're setting the bar really high for movies that already were hits. Okay, do something original, man. Do something original. That's all I ask. Because you got the potential. You got something there. The movies are funny, but come on, man. We got to go a different route. Just my opinion. There are better horror comedies than this, like Jennifer's Body. If you see in the back, check that out. I'm gonna watch that right after this. All right, but I need you to like, share, subscribe, and I am gone.